We are hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. Yesterday we heard the sage Kardam accepted silence as a vow in order to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take shelter of Him exclusively. Without association, he traveled over the surface of the globe as a sannyasi, devoid of any relationship with fire or shelter. Our Gurudev told that he met one person in India. Everyone was saying he's a Mauni Baba, means not speaking. So Gurudev went because everyone's saying. So, and many people, they used to come to him and he did not speak. But if someone asking him something, then he wrote on the paper. So Gurudev said that is not actually Mauna Vrata, not to speak. Because he's speaking through that writing. So Mauna Vrata means when you are not speaking these illusory perception things, but only thinking of Supreme Lord exclusively or speaking about Him exclusively. That is actual silence, proper silence. Otherwise it is only external, some stopping this sense, but in another way you are expressing. So, and he took it not for any other purpose, but so as to exclusively take shelter of Krishna and think of him exclusively. That is very wise thing. Once I express, means not direct, that time also without speaking, I express. I was thinking when I was in our Calcutta mat that I will tell today to Gurudev that I am disappointed. I am always so inattentive when chanting and thinking so many things, mental speculation. So I was thinking today I will say this to Gurudev and ask his advice. So Gurudev came back from watering Tulsi and was entering the library. Then when he saw me, he immediately understood everything because pure devotees, they can see. So he looked at me and said, "Is there any difficulty?" Then I did not say by words, but only showed with fingers like, yes, there is some difficulty. Then Gurudev already started answering me. He said, "You should always think of Supreme Lord, because He will rescue us, isn't it?" And Gurudev spoke from that realization. And at that time I felt this, that those who are really wise, pure, they are exclusively thinking only of Krishna all the time. They are living in that actual reality, and they think of Krishna and they see everything in relation to Krishna. So there is nothing but Krishna in their mind all the time. And then he said further, you should think what Krishna wants, not what other people want or what you want. Gurudev did not say, but I understood by his grace. He said, you should think what Krishna wants. About that you should think, not other things. And you should do that, isn't it? Then I said, yes. That is wise thing to do. Wisest means most beneficial for all. to always think only of Krishna exclusively and think what he wants and do according to his desire, to please him, to serve him. So Gurudev is established in that plane. I am unfortunately not, but at least we can understand by hearing from realized souls that that is actually beneficial. How Gurudev said he will rescue us, isn't it? Actually, no one can rescue us. Even we ourselves cannot rescue us. 1 second. We cannot rescue ourselves. No one else. So why we will rely on others, rely on ourselves? We should only take shelter of Krishna exclusively. That will be beneficial. And do what he wants. That will be beneficial for all. If there is any local interest, separate interest, it seems it will be beneficial, but it is locally beneficial and it will harm someone else like this. So here, Kardam Rishi, he did this. Did not speak about anything, exclusively thinking only of Krishna, taking absolute shelter of him. Also, Gurudev, during my Harinam initiation, he told, maybe you will think why I will wear this tulsi mala around my neck and why I will wear tilak, then other people will laugh at me. So better I should not wear this. Then Gurudev told me, you can please other people. So as means you will not wear this to please other people so that they will not criticize you or laugh at you. But you think very deeply whether at the time of death they can rescue or Krishna can rescue you. Who will rescue you at the time of death? You think about that. And Gurudev did not say further, but I understood by his grace that only Krishna can actually rescue us. As he repeated here again, only Krishna can rescue us, no one else, even ourselves. We will hear this during Kartik Brata. Gajendra, he tried to rescue himself. Others, they could not do anything. Then he also tried by his own strength, but he was unable. When he took absolute exclusive shelter to Supreme Lord, really from the heart, sincerely, then he was rescued. Also Draupadi, when they wanted to make her naked in that assembly, no one helped her, even she could not help herself. Only when she took absolute shelter of Krishna, Krishna immediately rescued her. See, always happening. But we have to take that shelter, but for that also one needs sufficient sukriti. Otherwise that aptitude to take shelter will not come. Even Gajendra did not take shelter of any demigods, because they are also destroyed. He told in those verses which we are hearing, he told, at the time of universal dissolution, at the end of Brahma's day, or at the end of his life, then all living entities are destroyed, including demigods. But you are above that, means Supreme Lord, you are above that. So I am taking shelter of you. Only he can rescue us, actually. Even demigods, no one can rescue us from birth and death, this material existence, no one. Only Krishna. And his associates, because they are liberated. Then, without association, Kardam Rishi, he traveled over the surface of the globe as a sannyasi, devoid of any relationship with fire or shelter. Nothing he considered this is my house and doing this type of sacrifice in karma kand. No, he was above that. He was already in pure devotion, always thinking of Supreme Lord within and without associating with anyone. You are mine and you are all, no. He is seeing only Krishna and Krishna in everyone and all in relation to Krishna. So he's not having any worldly type of association with anyone. Mano Brahmani Yunjano Yat Tat Sat Asatah Param Guna Vabhase Viguna Eka Bhaktyanu Bhavite. He fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Para Brahman, Supreme Spirit, who is beyond cause and effect, this material cause and effect, who manifests the three modes of material nature, who is beyond those three modes, and who is perceived only through unfailing devotional service. Only one way. There is one famous in India, Vivekananda. He told, Joto mot toto pot. How many minds are there? Opinions. So many paths are there. All are good. But that is not correct. And they give example, all paths lead to the Rome. Many paths going to Rome. So if Supreme Lord is unlimited, then there are unlimited paths to him. But that is wrong. Also Srila Bhakti Shirup Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj spoke against this in public there, and they became very angry on him. But what he spoke is truth. He said, no. There are not as many paths as many minds, or conceptions or opinions. No. To attain Supreme Lord, there is only one path. Surrender to him. Because he is a Samurdva, he is supreme person. He has his own will. No one is equal to him, no one is superior to him. If someone could get Supreme Lord by his own way, then Supreme Lord would lose his position. He would become subordinate, but he's not. So there is only one way to attain him, that is by his will. If he reveals himself to someone by his own will, then it is possible to know him, otherwise not. So there is only one path, that is Sharanagati, or devotion to him. Perceived only through unfailing devotional service. To act according to Krishna's will, as Gurudev told, you think what Krishna wants and you do that. We have to practically engage in the service of Krishna as per his desire, as revealed by him through scripture and as revealed by him through bona fide Guru Parampara. And in higher stages, in Leela, according how he will inspire everyone to serve him in Leela, and we will get guidance from those his personal associates, what Krishna wants, and we will do that. Nirahankritir nirmamascha nirdvandva samadrik svadrik pratyak prashanta dhir dhira prashantormir ivo dadhi. I've had in mind, but I forgot to tell, in that Upanishad. Upanishad is coming from Krishna. There he's saying, not by intellect, not by lectures, nothing, or even hearing many scriptures or memorizing. No. One can attain Supreme Lord, his realization, only that person whom Supreme Lord chooses to reveal himself. And whom he will choose, he stated in Shastra, he will choose one who surrenders to him. So there is only one way to attain him, bhakti. Thus, Kardam Rishi, he gradually became unaffected by the false ego of material identity and became free from material affection. Undisturbed, equal to everyone, and without duality, he could indeed see himself also. Who am I? You have to realize that. Some also use this word. Then I was introduced to myself. Generally, we are introduced to others in this world. Someone introduces me to that or introduces that one to me like this. But we have to be introduced to ourselves. We have to know who we are by realization, not only hearing, but realizing. He did that. After crossing this material conception, gross and subtle, he came to his real self, and he could perceive himself as who he really is in relation to Krishna. And that in that transcendental vision, he was equal to all. Not I am American, so I will hate Chinese. Or I am Chinese, I will hate another one, or like this. That is all duality and inequality. But those who have transcendental vision, they see every living entity as related to Krishna, as related to me, in relation to Krishna. So he's equal, he's seeing equally everyone. Samah sarveshu bhuteshu. Mad bhaktim labhate param. He sees all living entities equally in their, because he's seeing their real self. Our Gurudev told, when sun rises, then by that the light of the sun, one can see the sun and also all other things in proper perspective, including oneself and real self of others. So when one gets Supreme Lord, then he can see himself, who he is, real identity. And simultaneously he can also see the real selves of others. That is why only a realized soul, bona fide guru, can reveal the identity of another soul, his disciple, can reveal or give proper process how that will be revealed, realized. Only one who is transcendentally situated, means Krishna, once our Gurudev told, only Sri Hari, means Supreme Lord, only he can give Siddha Deha. Not just anyone, by their imagination. Supreme Lord, when he descends to a surrendered soul, he can give or reveal that. Or bona fide Guru, by the grace of Krishna, to a surrendered disciple, one who is inclined to serve Krishna. If there are other desires out of curiosity or for some name and fame like this, then some imaginary thing will come. Because it is not desire for service of Krishna, but it is desire to be highest, not service of Krishna. So real thing cannot come. Only Hari can give, or bona fide Guru, and to a surrendered soul. His mind was turned inward and was perfectly calm, like an ocean unagitated by waves. Our Gurudev told, when someone will see Supreme Lord, get darshan of Supreme Lord, then he will be always silent. In the sense, we are speaking so many things and so many desires, all externally, so much active, and quarreling and all externally active. But one who will get darshan of Supreme, he will be always silent. Means he will not unnecessarily speak something uselessly and be disturbed. No, he will be silent, means peaceful, always. And he will only speak about Supreme Lord all the time. He cannot but speak about Krishna all the time, nothing else, because he sees only him. And he is always calm and serene. Example is Prahlad Maharaj. So heavy environment, demoniac, and they tried to kill him in so many ways, but he was always peaceful. Why? He saw Supreme Lord always. Always he was perceiving Supreme Lord and everything is his will. He was never disturbed. Or Ambarish Maharaj, Haridas Thakur. Vasudeve Bhagavati Sarvagye Pratyakatmani Parena Bhakti Bhavena Labdhatma Mukta Bandhana. He thus became liberated from conditioned life and became self-situated in transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, the omniscient super soul within everyone. On transcendental devotional service means there is no other desire except to satisfy Krishna. There are other devotional services also mentioned in Bhagavatam, Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic, but that is mixed with some our own desire, what we want. But transcendental devotional service means you are fully realized who you are in relation to Krishna and doing everything only for his satisfaction. No other desire. And they are always doing, like we will hear in the introduction for Kartik, only those who have realized their real self, being liberated from gross and subtle bodies and realize their eternal relation with Krishna, they are capable of always serving Supreme Lord in all circumstances, 24 hours a day. Others they cannot. Atmanam sarvabhuteshu bhagavantam avastitam apashyat sarvabhutani bhagavatyapi chatmani. He began to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart. And that everyone is existing on him because he is the super soul of everyone. That is what we have to attain, that kind of vision. Then there is by realization, not by imagination. Trying to imagine, that will not pacify us. Only when, by His grace, we can get that realization, then that is what we have to attain. And what how we can attain by following proper process given by Krishna himself, given by bona fide Guru. Then we can attain that. Icha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gati. Freed from all hatred and desire. That is raga and dvesha. In this material world we have material taste. So we want this and we don't like this. And another person will like that and will hate that thing, always based on material conditioning. But he was freed from all hatred and desire of this world. Karda Muni being equal to everyone because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, means without any other desire except to satisfy Krishna, ultimately attain the path back to Godhead. Bhagavati Gati. In Kali Yuga, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gotir Anyata. There is no other way to attain Goti, means ultimate goal, the eternal service of Supreme Lord in his transcendental abode, except by Harinam, Harer Nam. So Harer Nam means real name, pure name. One who will with surrender chant pure name, avoiding offenses, he will get eternal service of Supreme Lord. Next chapter, 25, the glories of devotional service. Shaunaka Uvach. Kapila Statva Sankyata Bhagavan Atma Maya Jata Swayam Ajak Shakshat Atma Pragyaptaye Nrinam. Before we heard Karda Muni, it was sanctioned by Supreme Lord that he can now renounce house and do bhajan in secluded place. Sanctioned means approved, instructed. So he did as he was instructed by Supreme Lord, who is acting here as Guru. So by that process he got. So unless it is sanctioned by Krishna or bona fide Guru, that will not work. Because before we heard, there is only one way to attain Supreme Lord. It is by his desire. We have to act according to his desire. That is given in scripture, but what to apply in my case, because there are different degrees, different qualifications and circumstances like this, how to apply, what to apply is given by bona fide Guru, realized soul. If I follow that, then I can attain Krishna. Sri Shaunaka said, although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapila Muni by his internal potency. He descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race. That is his compassion. Nahyasya varshimanah pungsham varimnah sarva yoginam vishruto shruta devasya bhuri tripyanti mesava. Shaunaka continued. There is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than he. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him always is the actual pleasure of the senses, not sense gratification. That will not satisfy you fully, and also there will be reaction, suffering. But if someone inclined to serve engages his senses, beginning with air, to hear about Krishna, that will be actual pleasure of the senses. And no one is more worshipable. So those who are wise, they exclusively think of him always. Yat yat vidhate bhagavan swachandatmatma maya tani me shraddha dhanasya kirtanyani anukirtaya. Therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is full of self-desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency. Here, Sai Maharaj, like our Gurudev also used to say, the word Anukirtaya is very significant. Anukirtaya means to follow the description, not to create a concocted mental description, but to follow. Shaunak Rishi requested Sutta Goswami to describe what he had actually heard from his spiritual master Shukadev Goswami about the transcendental pastimes the Lord manifested by his internal energy. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no material body, but he can assume any kind of body by his supreme will. That is not material body, that is form, transcendental form, that is made possible by his internal energy, not accepting any material energy. By internal energy, he assumes so many forms to rescue us, to attract us. So we have to speak what we have heard from Guru or pure devotee or Shastra, not from our own mind. If someone becomes a realized soul, he can directly perceive, then he will speak that by the power of Krishna, by the power of his Guru, that will be also same. Outwardly words may be different, but substance will be correct, it will be same. So the same thing we have to follow. In our Gurudev's Pranam mantra is there, Gurur Banyanu Kirtanam. Of Gurur, Vani, words, Gurur Banyanu Kirtanam. Always our Gurudev is speaking, repeating what he heard from Gurudev. Guru Vani Anukirtanam. Sutta Uvach. Dvaipayana Sakas Tvevam Maitreyo Bhagavam Statha Prahedam Viduram Prita Anvikshi Kyam Prachoditaha. So you can understand what happens if disciple changes the words of his Guru. It is for his own purpose. So that is not good. Then already lost, deviated. One thing is to edit. If Guru gives that permission to edit language or like this. But if meaning is changed, then that is lost. Our Gurudev also allowed his writings to be edited by those who are knowledgeable in English language, but he strictly said, you can make sentences in different way and this, what you want, but don't change the meaning. Meaning has to be retained. That is why our Gurudev told these books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur also not so easy to translate. Because same spirit must be there, same meaning. And for that you have to be surrendered to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, not only knowing the language, but surrendered to catch what Bhaktivinoda Thakur means to say, and that you have to retain and give. Sri Sutta Goswami said, the most powerful sage, Maitreya, was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidur's inquiry about transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows. Maitreya Uvach. Pitari prastite ranyam matuh priya chikirshaya tasmin bindu sarevatsit Bhagavan Kapila Kila. Maitreya said, when Kardam left for the forest, Lord Kapila stayed on the strand of the Bindu Sarovar to please his mother Devahuti. Tam asinam akarmanam tattva margagra darshanam swasutam Devahutyaha dhatu samsmarati vacha. When Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows. Brahma told, he is not ordinary son, he is Supreme Lord himself, he will come as your son, because Brahma understood and they offered all prayers. So now Devahuti remembered, that is why she asked him. Otherwise, mother will not, like one child is born, she will have to teach him knowledge, everything, but mother is first guru and father. But here she understood, so she will ask him to give her this knowledge. Devahutir Uvach. Nirvinna nitaram bhuman asat indriya tarshanat yena sambhavya manena prapannandam tamah prabho. Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Here in commentary, unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental message from a person like Kapila. Devahuti expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Lord Kapila. Also in that Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. It is one scripture, actually. Purva Mimamsa means prior investigation, and Uttara means later investigation. Prior investigation, that is karma Mimamsa, about all the rituals, karma kant. But Uttara Mimamsa is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. After that, when one becomes tired of that material non-eternal things, after that, it is time to inquire about Brahma, Supreme Lord, Eternal Truth. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now it is time. Like that Nimi Maharaj also told to Navajogendras how I can be rescued. Then Prabhupada Muni said, first you see whether by karma, means by these worldly activities from false ego, they are getting what they want, they are getting happiness and they are removing distress or not. If you can see that they are getting just the opposite result, then it is time to inquire about eternal truth. Otherwise, if someone is still hoping, yes, by getting this car, by getting this, all these things, I will be happy. By getting wife, by getting children, I will be happy. Then he is not yet understanding the actual truth about those activities, so he will not be able to hear about the real process of happiness. Tasya tvam tamasondhasya dushparasyadya paragam Sachakshur Janmanam Ante Labda Metvat Anugrahat. Like now in Calcutta, it is very spread all over Calcutta, Durga Puja, very famous. For 9 days, Durga Puja. Every street you will see. But what they are praying, Dhanam Dehi, Jasham Dehi, Sundari Barjam Dehi, you give me wealth, means money. You give me fame, Jasham Dehi. You give me beautiful wife, give me children, give me all this. So they think by getting these things you will be happy. So they are not able to inquire about eternal truth. But if Durga is merciful without deception to someone, like to that Brahmin from Assam, then she will give Krishna mantra, devotion to Krishna to help him. So he ultimately got eternal service of Krishna. We can get from Durga, if we pray for devotion to Krishna, we can get. But generally people, they don't pray. They worship and they pray for non-eternal things. Here, Devahuti is telling, our Gurudev used to repeat these verses in Western countries, in India also. Your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are my transcendental I, which by your mercy only I have attained after many, many births. Ya adyo bhagavan pungsham ishvaro vai bhavan kila lokasya tama sandhasya chakshu surya ivoditaha. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin and Supreme Lord of all living entities. You have arisen to disseminate the rays of the sun in order to dissipate the darkness of the ignorance of the universe. Athame deva samoham apakrashtum tvam arhasi yo vagrahoham mametiti etasmin yojitas tvaya. Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feeling of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequent bodily relations. Tam tva gataham sharanam sharanyam swabritya sangsara taroh kutaram jigyasayaham prakriteh purushasya namami sadharma vidam varishtam. Devahuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between spirit and matter. This Prakriti Purusha. Material energy and the Purusha. There are two Purusha. One is Jiva Purusha, Jivatma, and Param Purusha is Supreme Lord. So what is the relationship? Sambandha Gyan. And by that Sambandha Gyan also it will be revealed what is man and woman, material relation in this world, what is that all about? Before we see that is the ultimate goal, ultimate happiness. But after realizing the Sambandha Gyan, transcendental, then we see that that is actually false. It is temporary and false. No one is someone's this husband, wife, well, false. Maitreya Uvach. Iti swamatur niravadyam ipsitam nishamya pungsham apavarga vardhanam dhiya bhinadyatma vatam satam gatir babhasha ishad smita shobhita nana. Maitreya said, after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus, his face smiling, he explained the path of the transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. Our Gurudev here explained, there are two ways to understand what Devahuti is speaking. When light comes, then you can realize that you were before in darkness. If you are always in darkness, then you don't realize. Only when light comes, then you can realize. So Devahuti said, now when you appeared, now I understood that my desire for a son was a material desire. Now I understood that was wrong. So you please rescue me from this entanglement of material desires. Another explanation is why here it is written that Kapil Bhagavan smiled. He is written his face smiling. Ishat Smita. Because Devahuti expressed herself here as if she is a conditioned soul with material desires and has to be rescued. Please rescue me. But Bhagavan Kapil, he smiled, and because he thought, what Mother Devahuti is speaking? She actually has no material desires. Otherwise, I cannot appear to her. I appear only in purified heart. To pure devotees I appear, not to those who have material desires. So our Gurudev explained that Devahuti, as all pure devotees, they are always expressing humbleness because of their contact with Supreme Lord. So they are always thinking, I am nothing and I am conditioned soul like this. But they have no desire. And Gurudev said such humbleness, those who are yogis and gyanis, they cannot understand. They are always proud, soham, aham brahmasmi, all this. They think. They have pride and independence and all this. But real devotee, he is always humbler than a blade of grass because of his actual contact with Supreme Lord. So they are always humbly saying. So here Kapil Bhagavan slightly smiled. What Mother is saying? That is not for her. She is asking on behalf of conditioned souls of this world. So for their benefit, I will reply to her so that others will get such knowledge. Like Arjuna played the pastime of being bewildered so that Krishna could give that knowledge to us, conditioned souls. Here also, she is not conditioned soul, Mother Devahuti. Already before it was proved, and already it is proved that Supreme Lord appeared from her. That is not possible from conditioned soul. So he thanked, and his face smiling, he explained the path of the transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. What he will say, that we will hear the day after tomorrow, Thursday, because tomorrow is appearance day of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosai Maharaj. We will hear about his glories and teachings. He is also like that, pure devotee, always humbler than a blade of grass, full of compassion for all conditioned souls. So we'll hear about him tomorrow.